Hello, I am Alok Jain. Welcome to episode 4 of the Root Cause series, which is based on the book that I've authored. In episode 3, we discussed the logic behind why and how a primarily vata or kapha or pitta mind and body would behave. Now, since the wiring of the brain or mind is the deciding factor of the individual conscience as well as the collective conscience of the society and the world, it is important that we discuss this part in detail before moving on to understand that how different foods act on our conscience and our mental as well as physical health. Ayurveda created a scale to measure the level of vata, pitta and kapha present in one's mind, with extreme kapha on one end and extreme vata on the other. And accordingly, it broadly divided mind in 3 categories. Tamasic, who are high on kapha and pitta; Rajasic, who are high on vata and pitta, meaning high Agni; and Sattvic, who have all the 3 doshas present in very optimal quantity. Now visualize the nature of a very high vata and pitta mind bucketed on one of the extreme end on the scale. Because vata will give their brains lots of cross connections and high pitta will move good amount of information from one nerve to another, such people will be high on virtues like creativity. But the flip side of such minds is that they will also be high on traits like impulse, flashes of ego, jealousy, agitation, excitement, jumping to conclusion. This is because high vata and pitta will lead to over assumptions, over imaginations, over reactions. Now, due to high vata, they will lose focus quickly and therefore will have short attention span, which is what we notice in today's world. Their intelligence quotient will be high, as vata will facilitate cross connections. However, their emotional quotient will be low, manifesting itself in form of uncontrolled aggression, uncontrolled crying, excess worrying, etc. Such people will also exhibit impulsive shopping, over consumerism and more desires. And then more desires will increase stress to earn more, which will further increase vata and pitta, leading to higher Agni and more desires and pulling the person towards addictive substances, thus trapping a VP mind in a vicious circle. We'll understand in the coming episodes that how stress or high Agni in the brain push a person towards addiction. However, once pitta supply will get exhausted, Agni will get extinguished, and therefore such minds will also have periods of remorse and empathy, even if temporary. But again, once pitta supply will be replenished through food or activity, or when vata goes higher towards the brain, which will reignite Agni in their mind again, getting them into a vicious circle unless something severe dents them financially or socially or on health front, taking them into a reclusive or introspective mode and drastically reducing their pitta, leading to diseases such as depression. Now, isn't it the fact that we can put majority of the people in today's world in this bucket of Rajasic mind? Of course, the extent is varying from one person to another. On the other hand, a person with very high kapha and pitta in the mind put on the other end of the scale will have lower IQ levels due to very less of cross connections. They'll be driven by what is stored in their kapha, and that's why they'll be stubborn, selfish, greedy, dry, rigid, inhuman, unempathetic, and permanently high on ego, the state of being I. They'll be physically strong because high kapha in them keeps replenishing the tissues which are wearing out due to high pitta. Such people are likely to be stone-faced, cold-blooded murderers who do not understand remorse. Higher the kapha and pitta in the brain, more pronounced would be these traits, which is what we notice in case of extremists, whose nature is that of a wild animal like a tiger and a lion, who lacks sympathy and empathy and doesn't mind killing the cubs for furthering his own progeny. And finally comes the third category of people who have sattvic minds. Such people are those in whom all the 3 forces of vata, pitta and kapha are present in optimal quantity, meaning towards the middle of the scale. Thus, Vata is neither high that it makes the person impulsive, nor it is so low that it makes a person low on empathy and intelligence. Kapha is neither so high that it makes one egoist, nor so low that the memory goes for a toss. Pitta is neither so high that it makes one egoist, unhealthy critic, nor it is so low that it affects intelligence. These optimal quantities of Vata, Pitta and Kapha present in a Sattvic mind are called as Oj, Tej and Pran, and therefore as opposed to Vata, Pitta and Kapha, which are called as Dosh in Hindi, meaning faults in English, Oj, Tej and Pran are called as Gun, meaning the qualities. Thus, a Sattvic mind is settled, forgiving, high on IQ and EQ, empathetic, low on ego, flexible, far-sighted and follows the middle path. Overall, since VP and KP mind both are bad for humanity, both are tamasic in a way, as they drag one towards darkness and inertia, whether because of impulse or because of lack of intelligence. In fact, both of them are mental aberrations, and therefore, in case we wish to bring happiness and gift a beautiful world to our coming generations, our aim should be to develop Sattvic minds. Yes, a person tamasic in nature may need a bit of Rajasic food and activity to move towards Sattvic mind, which is the center of the scale. And likewise, a Rajasic mind need tamasic food, and therefore it's wrong to make rigid buckets of tamasic and Rajasic food as we hear in the society today. Remember that life is like driving a vehicle where a constant correction, sometimes to the left and sometimes to the right, is required to stay on course all the time. In episode 5 and 6 of the Root Cause series, we shall discuss that how all foods that we eat are divided into 6 tastes, and how different tastes act on our doshas, how their wrong usage is leading to diseases, physical as well as mental, in today's world, and how can we employ them for developing Sattvic minds and healthy body to bring the best in us. This is Alok, wishing you a life full of ultimate bliss. Do like and share this video and subscribe to this channel for a happier and healthier world.